Hi, welcome to Genki Clinic. My name is Toby. In this video, we're going to look at rotational flexibility of the neck, moving from one side to the other like that. In previous videos, we've already looked at motion up and down like this. Also the basic neck position, which is most beneficial to the use of your neck and the way that you hold your head, and some background before that. So if you haven't checked those out, they're pretty important. We'll give you the basic foundations for this video. I'll put the links down below there. Please do take a look. For today though, we're going to look at using this towel, so I call these the towel techniques, to help us get very good range of motion like that, and for it to feel good at the same time, so that it's something that we actually enjoy doing and that we do. Towel here, remembering, nice and light on the hands, and basically we want to start using the towel here to pull side to side like that, just very gently, not using too much friction on the neck, very, very light like this. So I'm just pulling and dragging like that, as if I'm toweling myself. In this case, what we're actually trying to use the towel for is just to catch the surface of the skin a little bit and get it to sort of merge and smear and pull around like this. As we increase the pressure in the towel, just by putting a little bit more weight on the hands there like that, the pressure of the towel is going to be biting through the surface of the skin, catching on the muscles going here north and south, and bit by bit just catching a little bit more of a deeper layer onto the muscle, a little bit more of a deeper layer onto the muscle each time. At a certain point, the friction of the towel is such that actually we're going to be starting to really smear and pull the muscles in their different levels as we move up through the neck here, like that. Of itself, that also can be very good, just coming in very lightly and just moving them around. As you start to get up towards the occipital region, kind of where the skull allows a little bit of a dip beneath it, you're going to find that's very pleasant. Just remember, bringing the hands a little bit close together, allowing my head to relax back against the towel a little bit like that, and then even just small motions can be very good, yeah, or sliding past like that, allowing the friction to grab. Yeah, just keep going all the way, and maybe try this in the other direction. In this case, what we want to do is rest our arms reasonably strongly against the towel like this, and if you do that so that the friction actually catches onto the skull and onto the skin without slipping, then you'll find that as you pull one hand, I'm going to pull my right hand here, it forces my head to turn. Now I'm going to do it the other way. I'm pulling it like that, and obviously it's taking my head the other side. And just go with it. Just go with it. Nice, very simple, gradually warming the rotational aspect of your neck up a little bit like that. So use your feelings, use your put your intention and your mind into the muscles of the neck and everywhere around here, and really feel, just going into the places where it's comfortable, and bit by bit, if you do this technique, you'll find that the range starts to open up a little bit. It's not about how far we can go, can I look right over my shoulder? It's about how far does my neck allow me to go right now. The isometric basically means that we get the muscles to contract, to use their contractive power, but without allowing any actual motion. So although we're looking at this rotational movement like this of the neck, what we're going to do is get the force which would normally drive rotation but prevent the actual movement. We can prevent the movement using the friction of the towel. So here, if we wrap it around the head as we've been doing like that, and I'm going to pull out with this arm here, the right hand, and normally, as we've been doing before with the friction would pull the head this way. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to pull and resist the motion. Okay, like that. Very simple. And now I'm going to do the other way, pull and resist the motion. We can do that in any position, so I can turn my head like this and try and straighten it using the towel. So I'm pulling down this way, which normally I should let it go like that, and it would move the head. But instead I'm resisting the motion, You can see the muscles here are starting to really engage and try and pull around. So that kind of rotational force without movement can also be another way to start easing up and start to work through the muscles a little bit. Okay, one final one we can play with is actually to mix these two main techniques that we've been through today. The isometric, where we're staying still but producing torsional motion by really using a lot of friction to turn, that we've just been through, and the one before where we were doing the forced rotation, getting the towel to actually pull our heads around. So in this one we still want to get that rotational force in the neck, a little bit like the isometric. Okay, what we're going to do is actually turn our heads in the opposite direction that the towel is trying to turn it. I'm going to turn my head into the same hand that's doing the pulling. So left hand's pulling and I'm turning left. And the right hand's pulling and I'm turning right, like that. What we're really getting there is a real mix of the two. So we're getting this smearing action. So we're getting a real kind of nice friction across the fibers, but at the same time getting a requirement of the torsional twisting of the neck muscles. Yeah, try it out. You'll start to get a very nice feeling there. And you'll see as you start to merge and mix these various techniques, you can start to get some pretty interesting ways to come in at different angles and different ways on the little bits and nuggets of your neck which seems to be causing you trouble. Make sure that you don't tighten too much in the hands. Make sure that these shoulders stay nice and relaxed. If you look in the previous video, the last one, you'll see where I describe a little bit about how to make sure that that happens and that you don't start using too much force. So relatively long at the back of the neck, nice and relaxed down here through the shoulders. If you really want to accentuate and add to the relaxation and the capacities of this exercise, just make sure that you've got your feet nicely planted in the ground and that your knees are very slightly unlocked. That will help the whole of the system to start connecting up from the top here where we're working, right down through the whole of the posterior chain and the muscles involved, right down into your feet. Okay, so that's about it really. We've got these various techniques which I've gone through today. Then I've got a series of techniques in the last video which we went through as well. Because although I've painted them as sort of independent, separate little techniques that you can play with, in the end, what you want is a kind of free form where you know what's possible to do and you kind of play around in between them. So you start doing something nice and simple, and then you find, there's a little bit of tightness there. How can I most efficiently and most comfortably come into that area and start to make it feel comfortable and start to mobilize it and maybe strengthen it so that I start to return my neck to health. It's a matter of basically using this as a skill. And what that means is kind of getting familiar with it and doing it a little bit, but doing it regularly. Ultimately, what we're trying to produce is the ability to have our head floating very nicely and softly on our shoulders like this, so that we can be calm and observe the world around us in a very relaxed manner, so that we can easily absorb information and deal with it and convert it into a reasonable response. So getting the neck right is the first stage in that, and then gradually we want to work down through the rest of the spine and down through the legs. And if we can get the whole lot of them nicely aligned like that, then it starts to change the way that we interact with the world around us. So thanks for watching. Any comments, please put them below, or any questions so that others can benefit. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.